I traveled 4 hours for my nephew's christening. When I got there, my sister was waiting. She stepped in front of me and said, "Let's keep this peaceful. You should go." I handed her the gift envelope without a word, turned and walked away. 10 minutes later, she opened it empty. Inside was a note, "Check your shared account." Her shouting started before I even left the parking lot. I'd driven 4 hours expecting to be a key guest. Not for the attention. I don't like that kind of focus, but because I deserved it. Jenna wouldn't have made it through last year without me. When the mortgage company hounded her, who sent $3,000 that same day. When her husband's job loss left them without utilities for 3 days, who paid to restore power and heat. When she had that hospital bill she swore insurance would handle, who covered it? Me. Every single time. I thought I'd get a warm welcome, maybe even a thank you. It was her son's christening, and I arrived dressed for the front pew, right beside the godparents. I'd even slipped a new card and envelope into my jacket that morning, what she assumed was another generous check. The church was grand, gleaming, and crowded. I pulled into the lot just before the ceremony, parked away from the throng and stepped out, adjusting my tie. Jenna was already outside. Something felt wrong. She wasn't greeting guests or ushering people in. She stood there, arms crossed, staring at me like she'd been waiting. She approached with purpose. No smile, no "glad you're here." Just a flat, rehearsed line. "Let's not make a scene. You should go." I stared, thinking I'd misheard, expecting a joke or some excuse like a health scare inside. But no. She stood firm like a gatekeeper barring me from a place I didn't belong. I didn't argue. I pulled the envelope from my jacket, handed it to her, and walked back to my car without a word. She probably thought I was sulking, that I'd stew over being excluded. Truth is, I didn't care about the event anymore. I cared about what came next. I sat in my car, engine off, staring at nothing. Laughter from guests heading to the entrance faded behind me. I wasn't listening. I was thinking about how long it took me to see it, how Jenna had played this game with our family for years. She used me repeatedly and our parents always backed her. 10 minutes later, the side door slammed open. She stormed out, heels clicking, clutching the envelope like it had stung her. She was yelling into her phone, pacing, furious. I knew why. The envelope held no check, just a note. "Check your shared account." The one we used for emergencies, the one I funded and she drained. That morning, I'd transferred every penny to a new, private account, changed passwords, and locked her out. She'd hit my limit. She was still shouting when my dad's truck roared into the lot, braking hard, half over the lines, engine running. I watched from my car, arms crossed, window cracked. I didn't flinch. Mom stepped out, pointing at me like I was a target. Jenna waved them over, theatrical, playing the victim. They approached my car, Dad in front, Jenna trailing like he was her advocate. He leaned in, voice low, as if he cared about avoiding a scene, ironic for a family that thrived on drama. "You're pulling this today, at your nephew's christening." I didn't answer right away, just looked at them. Mom's arms were folded, Jenna was fake crying, and Dad seemed to expect me to justify the obvious. I said calmly, "I brought a gift for a family event. Isn't that what people do at christenings?" Mom snapped. "Don't play smart, Mike. You emptied the account. Jenna has bills due, she needed that money for the mortgage this week. What were you thinking?" I kept my eyes on Jenna. She stayed silent, lips tight, like she couldn't believe this was happening. But she could. That's why she rushed out 10 minutes after opening the envelope. She knew why I did it. What she didn't expect was that I'd follow through. I let the silence linger before reaching into the glove box. I pulled out a folded paper, held it up to show the bold numbers. $4,000, the real check. I hadn't destroyed it, I'd brought it. "You were going to give her that?" Mom's eyes lit up like I'd flashed a jackpot. "That was the plan, yeah," I said, "if she hadn't told me to leave the moment I arrived." Jenna stepped forward. "You drove all this way to punish me." "No," I said. "I came to celebrate your son. I brought a gift. You told me to leave, so I left. And this is your revenge." She waved the envelope like evidence. Mom nodded, shifting to disappointment. "Mike, this is petty. You're putting money over family." That's when it hit me. I'd heard this script before. When Jenna was reckless, they rallied around her. When I pulled back, I was selfish. If I didn't pay up fast enough, I was holding a grudge. They never asked how much I'd given or how it affected me. Jenna crossed her arms. "At least give me access back to the account. Even if it's empty now." Mom jumped in. "That's fair, Mike. You can't just cut her off completely." I looked at them all. "I'll think about it." I shouldn't have said that. The words slipped out and I knew I'd messed up. In our family, "I'll think about it" wasn't a boundary, it was an opening. They'd keep pushing. And I was just starting to pull away. They didn't leave after that. My words were their cue to press harder. They stood by my car, whispering like conspirators. I rolled my window up halfway, turned on the AC, and let them stew. Jenna kept glancing over, expecting me to lower the window, hand her the check, apologize. But I wasn't that person anymore. I stared ahead, hands on the wheel, waiting them out. Eventually, Jenna stormed back to the church, heels snapping. Dad said something to Mom before following. Mom lingered, giving me that tired look she used when she thought I'd failed the family. Then she left too. I waited 5 more minutes, started the car, and drove off. Not home, not yet. I just needed space. I ended up at a strip mall nearby, parked outside a grocery store, grabbed a coffee I didn't want, and sat watching a couple bicker over a parking spot. Then it hit me, something I hadn't thought about in months: the car. The silver 2011 Honda Civic I'd driven for nearly 8 years. I gave it to Jenna and her husband last year when they were down to one car after his crash. I remembered the call clearly, him apologizing, Jenna crying, and me saying, "Take it." I was going to sell it, but it felt right to help family. Except it was never a loan or even a gift they appreciated. It just became theirs, no questions asked. No title transfer. I paid the insurance for months before realizing they hadn't gotten their own. That's when I dropped it from my policy. Not a word from them. I checked my phone's document folder. The car was still registered in my name. No lien, no transfer, legally mine. I called a towing company I'd used before when a neighbor blocked my spot for weeks. Gave them the plate number, make, model, and location. Behind the church, near the dumpsters, where Jenna and her husband always parked to stay out of sight. The guy said it'd take 45 minutes. I gave my details and told him to call when it was done. Then I sat, sipping cold coffee, scrolling through old texts from Jenna asking for money, never offering repayment. I thought I'd feel guilty. I didn't. 40 minutes later, my phone buzzed. The car was towed, no issues, on its way to the impound lot, where it'd sit under my name until I decided what to do. I pictured Jenna still smiling inside the church, unaware her husband's ride home was gone. That was her second surprise of the day. And this time, she had no one else to blame. I stayed in that lot longer than needed, savoring the quiet. No buzzing phone, no angry texts, no dramatic voicemails. It was calm, a stillness I hadn't felt in years. I thought about driving home but opened Facebook instead. Jenna had already posted an album, The Christening. Her in a light blue dress, their baby in an oversized white gown that looked like it came from a costume shop. Smiling in every photo. My parents beaming beside her like nothing had happened. The caption read, "Thankful for the love, faith, and those who show up when it counts." A subtle dig at me, I nearly laughed, but then I noticed something. The last photo froze mid-upload. I refreshed. The album glitched. The group shot she'd captioned, "The whole family," vanished like pages torn from an album. The caption cut off mid-sentence. I kept refreshing, but it stayed broken. Something had happened. Before I could guess what, my phone rang. Unknown number. I don't usually answer those, but I had a hunch. It was Jenna's husband. He didn't mince words. "Where's the car?" I told him straight. "It's still in my name. I gave it to you because you needed it, but it was never yours. After today, I decided to take it back." He didn't yell, not yet. Just asked how I could do this on their son's christening, leaving them stranded with a baby. Then he said something that stopped me. "Jenna told everyone you gave her the account, said it was a gift, that it's hers now." I went quiet. He kept going. Apparently, she'd been saying I gave her the account to make up for missing the baby shower, that I set it up for her stability since I wasn't involved. My parents believed it. She'd built this story for months, painting me as the distant brother buying forgiveness. That's why Mom acted like I was crossing lines when I set boundaries, why Dad said I had no right to freeze her out. Jenna had crafted a narrative and they bought it. I hung up without another word, drove to the bank, sat with a rep, showed my ID, and said I wanted the joint account closed, cards deactivated, flagged for suspicious activity, and a closure letter sent to Jenna's address. I could have done it weeks ago, but I wanted to believe she was just careless, not calculating. I was wrong. She knew what she was doing. As the teller processed it, I remembered Jenna's husband posted about a job interview that week. I checked LinkedIn. The job was across town. Without the car, without the account, they were stuck. I left the bank with a closure statement, like shedding a weight I'd carried for years. For a moment, the quiet returned peaceful, but I knew it wouldn't last. They'd come for me now, not just with guilt, but begging. The silence didn't just break, it exploded. I woke to my phone buzzing relentlessly. 4 missed calls, 3 voicemails, all before 7 a.m. Mom first, then Dad, then Jenna twice. The timing screamed coordination. They were together, deciding who'd call first. I didn't listen to the voicemails. The texts told me enough. Mike, we need to talk. This is serious. Please don't ignore us. I have a baby. I can't get to work. Please don't do this. You're not thinking clearly. This isn't you. At least give access back to the account until Friday. Please, just until Friday. Jenna's last text was a screenshot of her overdrawn account. $17. Below it, a crying emoji and a photo of the baby in a diaper on the floor, like that would clinch it. Classic Jenna, pity then pressure. An hour later, Mom called again. I answered not because I wanted to, but because I knew they'd keep calling. She didn't say hello. Are you really doing this to your sister? No, how are you? Just accusation. She said Jenna was humiliated, borrowing a ride from a neighbor to get to work, short on gas money, crying all night. That the stress was dangerous with a baby. She didn't understand how I went from the family's most generous to a stranger. Then the kicker. Your father and I think you should talk to someone. This isn't like you. There it was, the pivot. When guilt failed, they suggested I was unstable, like setting boundaries after years of being used was a mental issue. I stayed calm, said I was fine, that I just decided not to be taken advantage of anymore. That I didn't owe Jenna, or anyone, endless money just because I didn't have a kid. Just when I thought we'd end in silence, she said, if this is about the car, you got it back. But you can't punish a mother like this. That's your nephew. It wasn't about the car. It was about how easily they rewrote the story, making me the villain the moment I stopped giving. They didn't want to hear that. They wanted the account back and would hit every emotional button to get it. That afternoon, the doorbell rang. I opened it to find the Honda parked across my driveway, no one there, just a crumpled envelope under the wiper. Inside, a note. You want control? Fine, take it. No keys, no explanation, just drama on wheels. They'd paid to get it from Impound and dumped it at my place like a tantrum. They didn't know I had the spare key. I walked over, unlocked it, and drove it to the back. I didn't text them. That night, Jenna called again, full meltdown, crying about her job, missing shifts, everything collapsing. She needed the account just for a few days, just until Friday. Her voice cracked like she was holding the baby and phone at once. I didn't yell or lecture. I said, I'll think about it. I knew instantly I'd screwed up. To Jenna, that meant the door was still open, her hold not fully broken. I barely slept that night. Every buzz made me brace for another plea, another guilt trip. They weren't done. They were just getting started. I stared at the last message for over an hour before sending one line, no edits. I've thought about it, the answer is no. I hit send, flipped my phone over and stepped outside. I didn't need their reaction. I knew it, shock, then anger, then the same old guilt trip expecting me to grab the rope. This time I didn't. The quiet after was strange, no calls, no texts. I thought maybe they'd accepted it. Maybe the silence was their answer. It wasn't. That night Dad called calm, too calm, like he'd rehearsed. "Come over for dinner. Let's talk this out. Everyone's here. Jenna's ready to apologize." That word apologize felt wrong. It wasn't her. I asked if this was about the account. "No," he said. "It's about family. Let's not let this tear us apart." I said I'd think about it. He said okay. I knew I wasn't going. The next day Mom texted, "I know you're hurting." Classic repositioning, framing my boundary as pain. Said Jenna was under pressure, motherhood was tough. She didn't mean what she said. That we're still siblings. Then the pivot. Jenna's husband got a job offer across town. They needed the Honda temporarily, just until they were stable. They'd handle maintenance this time. "You always felt good helping others. Let yourself feel that again." I stared at that line. That was their game, counting on me liking the role they'd cast me in. The reliable one who always paid, forgave, returned. I didn't reply. Instead, I grabbed the spare key, drove the Honda to a dealership 2 towns over and sold it. No ceremony, just paperwork, a fair offer, and a signature that felt like freedom. The dealer asked why I was selling. "It's time," I said. When I got home, I checked the bank. The account was closed, no pending transactions, no linked cards. Gone. Then I blocked their numbers, Mom, Dad, Jenna. It felt extreme, like flipping a switch. But it wasn't anger or revenge. It was self-respect, long overdue. They'd crossed a line they didn't think existed. Now they were on the other side. I haven't heard from them since. No letters, no visits, nothing. I don't know what they're saying, probably that I lost it, need help, abandoned those who loved me. But I sleep better. My phone doesn't make me jump. I don't check my balance obsessively. That exhaustion from being their backup plan is gone. Jenna has her life. I have mine back. 2 months of silence passed and I thought they'd moved on. Not that they'd changed, but maybe I was no longer their crisis target. I felt like myself again. Not their version, but the one I was rebuilding. I was sleeping well, working with clarity, even dating again, something I hadn't had energy for in years. Then a letter arrived. Handwritten, folded neatly in an envelope with my name in Jenna's scrawl. I almost didn't open it. I stood in my kitchen, staring. Inside it began, "I guess you think I'm the bad guy." No apology, just that, like we were arguing over a plot twist. She wanted to explain. Said she was in a tough spot, didn't know how to survive, leaned on me because I always came through. That she stopped seeing me as a person and more as a fix. The lies about the account got away from her. She didn't mean for them to stick, didn't know how to backtrack without losing face. Near the end, "I'm not asking for money. I just want to know if we'll ever talk again." I read it twice, then again days later. It wasn't manipulative, but it wasn't an apology either. No, I was wrong. Just a long explanation of her hard life without me holding it up. I didn't write back. I took a walk, thought about everything. What happened, what I'd allowed. Then I wrote a note, a few lines, kept it in a drawer for when I doubt if I was too harsh. "It's not that I hate you. It's that I finally love myself enough to stop letting you drain me." So, what are your thoughts on this story? Do you agree with what happened, or do you see it differently? Let us know your opinion in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any of our upcoming stories. See you in the next one.